How do you feel being a Black girl, a Black woman in that field, and being a vice president, being assistant general counsel?
So there's a lot to unpack in that one question. It is, because I'm a Black woman. I am Black. I'm a woman. I'm a Black woman. In corporate America, a Black woman that's a vice president, less than 1% of women and people of color are vice presidents of organizations. And 2, I also focus a lot in technology, which less than 1% of women, period, are in that space.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Hey, y'all. This is my new podcast. This is the very first episode of Therapy Fulfillment with Brand New, where I have special guests on my show and I incorporate my profession as a hairstylist with speaking about everyday life, childhood, careers, goals, dreams, where we're headed, where we are, and it's relatable to our everyday people. Today we have a special guest who is very dear to me. She is a strong, independent, loving, caring, very smart and intellectual person. She's also a mother of 2, and she is a vice president and also assistant general counsel. And her name is Kimah Nicole. Everyone, welcome her on to Therapy Fulfillment. And this unit today that we are installing on her is by Brand New Hair and Beauty. It's full from root to ends, and it's a closure unit. So watch us as we talk about everything related to Black girl magic, including the hairstyle. All right, so let's get started, Kimah. How are you today?
I'm good.
Okay.
Good.
So, where are you today? You want to talk about like where you are today with your career, with life? She is an attorney, you guys.
Right. So I guess my official title, if we're going to be official, I am the Vice President Associate General Counsel for activewear company. The company focuses on activewear, really promotes happiness, getting in touch with nature and yourself, travel, commute. Everything
that this podcast is about.
Yes, everything. So it aligns perfectly with what you're doing. So in my career, I provide and advise counsel to the company as we grow and scale.
Okay. And
so I lead a team and we support our business on international. I like to divide it in swim lanes because I do a lot. So one of those lanes are international growth and expansion. So when we enter new markets overseas, we just launched in China.
Okay.
So responsible for our first China location.
Okay, great.
We also help our business with product compliance. So when you purchase clothes, there's a bunch of regulations about what can be in those clothes, what cannot be in those clothes, what you have to disclose about those clothes. So I help the business with that. Data privacy and security. That is just protecting your information. As a consumer, you sign up for loyalty programs, you give your email addresses for discounts. So I advise the team on what those disclosures are, what consent you need, and how you process and share that data. And then I have a general bucket of commercial, and basically that means all the other shit that the company needs.
Okay, so that sounds like it's very busy and time consuming. That's why most of the time when I call you, you're always on a call, never can answer the phone.
I work hard, but there's a balance, right? And right now in my career, I am working on what that balance is.
Good.
And so, because I'm not only a lawyer, I am me. I'm my own person. I need to take care of me. I have 2 kids I need to take care of. So, yeah, I am busy.
Yeah.
For London tomorrow, going to Sweden on Friday. Was just in California 2 weeks ago. So yes.
Where is your job based? Is it work from home?
Yes. So I work remote, and my company is based in California. Which I have a really supportive general counsel. So the general counsel or chief legal officer, she's the head of our legal department. She supports like working on East Coast hours, but I am so driven and always wanting to be there to support. I pretty much work California hours.
Yeah.
So.
How do you feel being a Black girl, a Black woman in that field, and being a vice president, being assistant general counsel?
So there's a lot to unpack in that one question. It is, because I'm a Black woman. I am Black. I'm a woman. I'm a Black woman. In corporate America, a Black woman that's a vice president, less than 1% of women and people of color are vice presidents of organizations. And 2, I also focus a lot in technology, which less than 1% of women, period, are in that space.
Yeah.
So it's a sense of pride, but it's a lot of navigating. And I'm also young.
You are.
I'm a little seasoned. I'm almost 40. Okay. But I am young compared to my counterparts.
Okay.
So there's just a lot to navigate there. But personally and professionally, it feels great. Like,
I asked you that question because I remember something that stands out to me, and I'm going to share this before we get to the shampoo, because it has everything to do with the Black girl curls and you making it in your career. I will never forget this. You, I think, got your first actual corporate job, because first you were working on a contract position, and you got the first corporate position, and you wrote on Facebook, and it's giving me chills right now. You said, it's a point where you feel like you made it, where I'm running down the hallway with my heels, my red bottom heels, and my curls blowing in the wind, and I finally can say, Mama, I made it. And that really that was like 8 years ago, 7 years ago, and I still remember that, and it gave me chills. Like, I'm so proud of you.
Thank
like
you.
So proud of you.
But you know what's crazy about that post 7 years ago? I felt like I made it, but now I'm
exactly.
And where I am today,
yeah,
Mama, I made
it. Seriously,
like, I am here. I'm bringing the I am here.
Yeah,
people. I have a team. People,
right? Exactly.
I'm more of a strategic leader that I wasn't 8 years ago. So the opportunity is so much different. The money is so much different. The level is different.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's good. Now we're going to transition into the shampoo. So we'll catch you guys when she's back in the chair. To do a trim, a deep trim, not one of those trims where y'all be like, oh, I just want a little bit taken off. No, y'all, it's one of them trims where y'all gonna be like, she cut my hair. Yeah, that type of trim. All right, so she's gonna hold this so I can see, because her hair is so long and she may have to stand up. Okay. Just hold it like this. So we can see where the hair is, and of course it's past that. So she's just probably gonna have to stand up. And we do the trim from there. So So let me get my shears. And yeah, I'm gonna turn it around. So this is her hair before the trim. Y'all can already see where it needs to be trimmed to. I usually take a picture and show the client, which I'll still do, but I don't play that. Just cut a little bit, no, because it's gonna keep cutting. Like you can see the split ends, like they're splitting up the shaft, and they're gonna keep doing that until you get rid of it. So y'all can see where it is. I'm gonna take a picture so I can show her. And this happens with a lot of natural girls who just wear curls all the time and don't straighten it. So maybe like 3 inches. Okay.
It's hair.
Yeah, because it looks like a lot in length, but it's not gonna be a lot that even comes off. Okay. Let me do my thing. And then, all right, so let's talk about early childhood. Where were you born?
Technically, I was born in Wilmington, North Carolina.
Okay, Port City.
All right, go ahead, boo. But my dad was in the military, so my mom went back home, I guess, to have me, and then I kind of, I moved around a lot, probably every 4 years. And so I lived in Jacksonville, and then I feel like we did...
Jacksonville, North Carolina.
Jacksonville, North Carolina. Then we did like a coast-to-coast kind of thing. So I went to California, to New Jersey.
I remember California.
Yeah.
When was it 29 Palms?
29 Palms. California to Jersey to Hawaii.
And we lived, me and Neat, my older sister, lived with you guys in Jersey. How long did we live? I can't remember.
I can't remember either. Like, sometimes, you know how you have like the flashback?
And it's like it was so long.
Yeah,
but
you feel like it's long. And then
but
people, like,
when you really
when
do
you
the timeline, you start
like,
thinking,
wow, that wasn't a
long time at all.
But I guess you were so annoying. It felt like a really, really long time. Felt like a long time.
No, y'all bully me.
I had to walk you from the DYA because you were not allowed in, but you kept going. So,
y'all bully me. Tell and how y'all put me in the dryer and turned the dryer on.
It's called being strategic. From a very young age, I was always strategic about what I did, which didn't include getting in dryers. So from there, from Jersey, we went to Hawaii. We spent some time there, and then my dad retired in New York, and so that's where I spent my primitive years. So 7th through 12th grade, I spent in New York.
So you grew up in a 2-parent household.
2-parent household. My mom and my dad.
And your brother.
And my brother. Well, we're talking about parents. And my brother. And my parents were married. They did divorce when I was, well, they didn't divorce. They separated when I was 17. And so that was different, right? Because I've always had them in the home. But it was, yeah.
What do you mean different? How was that? How did that affect you? Or did it affect you?
I don't know if it affected me. I think maybe if I was younger, it was, but at 17, I was doing my own thing and had my own life. I was just kind of like, look, that's between you and my dad.
Yeah.
Anything else doesn't have to do with me. And like my dad was still like very involved. So no, they weren't in the same house, but I don't know. I was a teenager by then. Like I was almost grown, right?
Yeah.
It's like, all right, it is what it is.
So now we are doing the braid down for the wig install. So for a wig install, you don't have to do, and it also goes by their hair. So you don't have to do a bunch of braids underneath, just as long as they're flat. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm putting probably about 6 braids in her hair, and then we'll do the cap and the wig install. So that was early life. Did you always know that you wanted to be an attorney?
No. I actually went to college as a biochem major because my mom convinced me that I should be a doctor. And that's what she wanted for me, and I wanted to make her proud, and so that's what I did. I went to college as a biochem major, and I did awful.
Where did you go undergrad?
I attended Adelphi University, which is like a small private college, probably like 10 miles away from my house. My mom, like, I applied for a lot of colleges to make my mom happy.
Yeah.
I just wasn't ready. Like, I didn't feel ready to be away from home. So I went somewhere that was close to home, and my mom also graduated from Adelphi.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, oh, Mom, you went here. Why not me?
And she graduated nursing, president of the class.
Yes, of the nursing class. So I went as a biochem major. Did awful my first, like, when I say awful, had me rethinking everything. Like, I was like, I don't even know what I want to do. Should I be a teacher? Should I be a dancer?
A nurse? I think you were thinking about being a nurse.
No. After the biochem, I have to get away from science. Like, that's not my thing. I'm not good at it. So I decided to pursue a degree in psychology to give me time to kind of think what I want to do, because that's a lot. Like, expecting an 18-year-old to decide what they want to do for the rest of their life. Right. I just wasn't ready for it. Right. So I was just like, all right, I'm going to do psychology, and then I'm going to somebody's grad school. And so I looked into like an MBA. I looked into law school. And I remember my mom, my junior year, she was like, hey, you know, after you graduate, you got to start paying your own bills. Yeah. Unless you go to grad school. And I was like, I bet. What can I do that's long enough so she can keep paying my bills?
So while you were at Adelphi, like in like, you know, growing up in like while you were a teenager, how were you?
What you mean?
What kind of person were you? What did you enjoy doing? What did you do? Like,
I was rebellious. I did everything my mom didn't want me to do. Like, let's just be real. Anything she did not want me to do, I did. But I'm thankful for my parents, my mom and my dad, who stood by me and encouraged me during like now that I look back, I'm like, whoa, I was a challenge.
I was wilding.
Yeah. I'm thankful that I had parents who never gave up on me, because if they did, I wouldn't be here today. And so I'll just leave it at that. Yeah. I'll leave it at that. So I didn't grow up a straight A student who did all of the right things, right? Like, I made mistakes. I look back at some of the things that I did, and I can honestly say, well, wow, I dodged a bullet, because that could have went horribly wrong. And so when I read things that teenagers go through, sometimes it really resonates with me, because it reminds you how you can be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and it's life-changing. Yeah. It's devastating, and now it's on the news, versus, hey, I could have been in similar situations. It was just, it didn't end this way. Yeah. So
you guys were able to do a lot of things. You had a 2-parent household. You had, your mother was a nurse, and she worked. She set that example for, you know, working hard and being independent. And, you know, your father was in the military, and he was a staff sergeant, right? Yeah. At that time in New York?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so he was, you know, you were able to do a lot of things. Like, did you enjoy traveling? What was your favorite thing to do? Like,
so my favorite thing to do as a kid, and especially with my mom, is shop. Like, my mom loved to shop, and I think I picked that up from her. Like, when I'm stressed, when I'm happy, if it's time to celebrate, we shop. Yes. And then I remember as we started getting older, we started traveling more. And that's something that's important with me and my kids. Like, I have a goal to make sure my kids see the world. So for my baby boy, I think he got his passport when he was 6 weeks.
Yeah, he was out of here. Yeah.
He
I remember
understand the concept of driving. Like, Mommy, why can't we just get on the plane?
And I remember we went down to, where did we go? In Manhattan to get the Neverfield bag in 2007. And that bag was $700.
$719.
Oh my God. And I paid $1,400 for that bag.
And that's why I want a new Neverfill, but that's why. Because I can't reconcile that I paid $1,400 for mine.
And when I paid for it, I was like, I remember this bag was $700. I went with my aunt to purchase it for my cousin. $700.
$719 with tax.
Yeah. So, and then you went, so after undergrad, you decided to, what made you decide to go to law school?
So, I decided to go to law school, one, because I wanted to have a lucrative career and be successful. And two, it was a 3-year program, which meant I had 3 more years of my mom paying my bills. And I am being so honest, like, I was just not ready to, like, even at the age of like 22, 21, I didn't know what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. So I was really trying to buy time. Hindsight is 20/20 because you realize how precious time is, and you can't get it back.
Yeah.
And so in 2009, my mom was mailing packages, I think to you, Anique,
for Christmas. I was a freshman at UNC Charlotte, and it was it was in December. It was the day before Christmas.
It was a few days.
Before Christmas.
And she came home and she said, I felt a lump. I was like, no, Mom, you didn't. And she said, no, I know what I felt. I was wiping sweat, went across my breast, and I felt a lump. And shortly after, she was diagnosed with cancer. And I will say, that day, my life changed forever. Yeah,
mine too.
Yeah.
I was a freshman in college. My aunt, she was everything to me. I must say, like, this is someone, I grew up in foster care, so I was in foster care after we lived with her in New Jersey, with them in New Jersey, and we went into foster care where I aged out, but that lady never took her hand off of me or my sister. Like, an unconditional love, like I've never seen it before.
Unconditional, unrestricted, pure from the heart. Want nothing in return but to see others happy.
And so when that happened, I always tell people this, like, about this example, how I was in school to be a nurse at the time, pre-nursing. That happened my first semester at UNC Charlotte. And were you in law school? No, you weren't in law school.
It was my senior year.
Yeah, okay.
It was 2009. I graduated in 2010. So January was the new year.
Yeah.
It was my senior year of college.
Right. And so that was 2009. So she would not, like, that was unconditional love no matter what I did. It was just so pure. Like, if she could not talk to me, it was the end of the world for her, and vice versa. And so being in foster care and having that type of love, where I've been in different homes, different foster homes, and I've been adopted, I went to a group home. It was just like that's the one person that never took their hand off me. So I could not function. And it ended up affecting me. My friends would come to my room and I would be laying in the dark. Like, I wouldn't go to class or anything. And it affected me because, like I said, that was the one person. But for you, I always tell people, it affected us in different ways. Like, you went on to law school. You finished law school even after she passed away, and I really, really, really admire you for that. I always just think, like, no matter what happened, no matter what you were going through, and those are things that, like, I used to walk in the room on y'all talking about, like, law school, and in the hospital she was telling you, like, no, you're going back to school. Like, you're going back to school. And of course she would tell me that as well, but it just affected us in different ways.
So I will say, like, I took that year off. I didn't go to law school right away. After I graduated, I took a year off to take care of my mom. She had chemo, we had surgery, and I needed to be there for her. And I did that. And I remember when it was time, and in between studying for the LSAT, because it was important that I get into a decent law school. And I was gonna go to the law school close to my house because I needed to be there for my mom. And so I just remember her like pushing and making me apply for all these schools out of state. And I did. And when I applied for places that I was like, I ain't getting in here. Harvard, like Columbia, like all of the schools that were just reaches. And I did Wake Forest. And I remember when I got my acceptance, I didn't want to tell her, but I told her, and she was like, you have to go. And I was like, I can't, I need to be here for you. And she was like, no, this is the right choice. You know, it's an 8-hour drive. It's a 4-hour flight. Like it's a train ride, it's a bus ride. You can get back to me. And I always say, like, hindsight is 20/20, because she did that for me.
To be close to us, to be here with family.
But she wanted me to see that I can live without her. Like my mom, it hurts to reflect, but my mom knew she wasn't gonna make it. And she knew she was gonna fight as hard as she could, but she knew she wasn't gonna make it. And she needed me to know that I can live without her.
She always said that.
She didn't need to hold my hand. I didn't need to contemplate how I'm going to law school to pay bills. I'm going to law school to be successful. And so I'm thankful for her. So a lot of the strength you see in me, it's my mom.
Absolutely.
Because my mom was resilient. She was strong. When you talk about how my mom passed away my second semester when I was in law school. I was catching the Chinese bus. I was driving any way that I can get back to her. And I remember I called my dean. I was like, look, the doctors called me and they said, your mom doesn't have long to live.
I remember you called me and told me that. I'll never forget.
I called my dean. I said I was withdrawing, and it took me a few days. And I was like, as long as I don't go home, my mom will not die. Like, my mom will not leave this earth without me by her side. And so I prolonged going home. I had already said I was going to withdraw. I walked in that hospital room. My mom was pretty much not conscious. She woke up and looked at me and said, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? The doctors was like, she has not said anything. She's been like this for 4 days, her eyes closed. Like, what did you do? And I said, Mom, I'm not, like, I'm here, you know, everything will be okay. And the hospital room was very lively. My mom was super social. If you look on your Facebook, you're probably friends with my mom.
No, seriously.
She was in the mix.
Always in the mix.
And so her friends would ask me, like, when are you going back to school? And I would say, I'm not. And my mom would say, yes, she is. She's going back. And every night we will talk and I will cry. And she would say, baby, this is a minor setback. This is a minor setback. It will be okay. And from that day, I was like, if my mom is on her deathbed and she can look at me and tell me it's a minor setback, there is nothing in this world that I cannot accomplish, that I cannot achieve, that when I manifest it, it will be. And so my strength lies in that. Like, I break all the time. I feel weak. And I remind myself that this is a minor setback. Because if death is a minor setback to my mother, there's nothing walking.
Absolutely.
There's nothing on this earth that's a major setback.
Yeah, definitely. During those times, like, it just, every time I even do something or make a hard decision or don't want to do anything, like, I told you this like years ago, that I always be like, what would Kimah do? Like, what? Because this is my big cousin, my big sister. Like, that's my sister. But I always say, like, what would Kimah do? What would Kimah do in this situation? And, you know, like, you just never know, like, what people are battling either. But as long as you keep going and keep, like, people don't know what, like, if you're battling, whether you want to do it or not, or do, you know, just whatever you have in your heart to do, like, just do it. It's gonna always be, you know, setbacks. It's always gonna be trials and tribulations, but we definitely had a hell of a role model.
Yeah.
A hell of a role model. Like that's why we like are, the women that we are today, and we always make things happen. And I definitely attribute that to her. Like definitely. And a lot of other women in our life, but she definitely never took her hand off us. So now what we're gonna do is we're slicking the edges back. So her edges are going to be safe and secure in the wig, not poking out or anything. And we're gonna let this dry a little while. And then we're gonna put the cap on. The cap is for to hold her head down, as well as because the wig is an HD unit. It's so you can't even see the lace. So it's like invisible. So basically you want to put a cap on so that when you put a part in the wig, the cap will be the same color as her scalp. So this episode is sponsored in part by 7 Birds Clothing Line, where the streets is your runway. Head over to 7birdsco.com to shop the most exclusive urban wear line. New drops include the authentic varsity in red and in black, leather sleeves, and embroidered patches. There is something for the whole family. Also, follow 7 Birds Co. on IG and 7 Birds Clothing Line on Facebook. How was law school for you? What events transpired? How were you feeling? LSAT. Do you want to talk about your LSAT scores?
No. I did well enough to get into Wake Forest.
That's all we need to know, player.
Okay, that I did not. I mean, it wasn't a one and done for me. You're allowed to take it 3 times and they take your average. I took it 3 times. They took my average. I was able to get into Wake Forest. It's okay. I didn't have to get the 180 or whatever the top score was. I just needed to get enough to get into law school. Right. That's what I did.
Right.
As far as law school is different, especially as an adult or a young adult, and with everything that was going on with my mom. Right. So I probably wasn't as engaged. I think when I went to law school, I was dating. So.
Sorry.
Law school, it was going through the motions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then while you were going to law school, while you were in law school, you went to law school for 3 years?
Yeah, law school is 3 years. Okay. I entered fall 2011, graduated May 2014. It was hard.
2011. So your mom passed away in 2012.
Yes, my second semester, my second semester of my first year of law school, my mom passed away. Craziest thing, but I knew for a while that she wasn't going to make it, and she knew too. And I remember the last time I went back home. So I started going back home quite frequently, and I remember. When I went back home the last time, I knew. And so I called one of my other cousins and we got on the Chinese bus and we went, and I looked at my mom and she couldn't speak. She had a breathing tube. And I just looked at her and we had this thing, and we'll say, I love you. And then the other person will say, I love you too, today and always. And I looked at her and she couldn't talk. And I said, I love you. And she looked and one tear fell down her eyes. And I said, I love you today. And I love you always. And I told her, it's okay. I said, it's okay to stop fighting. I promised her that I'll take care of my brother. I promised her I will continue school. And I let her know it was okay to just let go, because, her quality of life had dissipated so much. And I knew she was only staying alive because she felt obligated to me and my brother. And we're not talking about little kids, right? I was 23, my brother was 27. We're adults, but her biggest fear was who was going to take care of her babies. And
yeah, she told me, she said, I'm okay with where I'm going. And she said, I'm not worried about Kimah. She said, I know Kimah is going to, make it happen. She was like, I'm just worried about Real, but she was like, I know Kimah got Real.
Yeah.
Like she was just everything. Like she was my everything, seriously. For 20 years, 21, I turned 21 that year. And she was just my everything. She was just an amazing woman. But so she passed away in 2012, in April 2012.
And I will never forget, my mom passed away. I said, okay, how long, what do we need to do? I went back to school, took finals, planned a funeral, came back, gave my mom a service. And I put out a few finals. I took a few finals, and I remember, like, I don't know if you remember, but I remember when I just went in a period of darkness. I didn't get out of bed. I went into my phone.
And I remember when you went in those periods and you did not answer that phone, and I showed up to your doorstep.
Yes, I wouldn't do anything. I would just lay there. And I remember one day, I'm a very spiritual person. I would not say religious, but I'm spiritual. I believe in a higher power. I believe in manifested. I believe there's people looking over us, taking care of us. I will never forget, I heard my mother clear as day. She said, that's enough. She said, it's time to get up, baby. And I laid in that bed and I was like, I'm not moving. And then I heard it again, it's time to get up. And I remember getting up, taking a shower for like the first time in like 3 days. I'm not even gonna lie. I think you had called me like 17 times.
And showed up to the door. What's going on, me and Zai?
I just couldn't. I couldn't. But when I heard her, I knew it was time. And from that day forward, I just remembered that this is a minor setback. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't say I grieved my mom right away. I think I just worked harder. Mm-hmm. Like I needed to accomplish everything that she wanted me to accomplish to make her proud. And that's what I did. That's what I did. I accomplished everything to make my mom proud, to let her know that her babies were going to be okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a very hard time, but you just were so you were moving through everything so well, so just everything. And then you ended up graduating law school in 2014.
Broke as hell.
You graduated and you did it. You walked across the stage. You had her nursing badge on. Mm-hmm. And
that was important. Even when my mom passed away, my mom is always close to me. Mm-hmm. Even to this day, my son will talk about my mom like he knows her. Mm-hmm. My son was born in 2019. My mom passed in 2012.
Yeah, Zatu, he knows.
He knows who his sugar mama is. And he said, Mommy, sugar mama buy it for me? I said, yes, she will.
Man, yes, he don't even know.
He don't even
know.
Yes, so, yeah.
And then, so when you were in law school, how did you think it was gonna be? Because I know you said you went to law school because you wanted a lucrative career. How did you think it would be landing a career while you were in law school?
So it's so funny because people don't talk about the misconceptions of graduate degrees, finding a job, the landscape of things. So I thought I was going to graduate law school, mm-hmm. work for a major fashion house, making $100,000 a year, mm-hmm. Just ready. Mm-hmm. But once I got into law school, it's super competitive. Most people go to law firms. Mm-hmm. To get a job at a top law firm, you got to be in the top 10% of your class. Mm-hmm. Which, if you do the math, top 10% is a few kids out of the 200 mm-hmm. or 100, whatever it is. So it's not a lot of people. And so I had a reality check, and I wanted to go in-house. Mm-hmm. I never wanted to work at a law firm. And so with in-house, you have to go to a law firm. So it was really a reality check that a lot of my peers, it wasn't for them because they had parents that were lawyers, right? Mm-hmm, so they knew the groundwork. They knew what to do.
I remember you used to talk about that all the time.
They had the cheat code.
Yeah, they were partners at tobacco companies and everything else.
Yes, everything. Their parents were VPs here.
Right.
Their dad was a,
right.
partner at the largest firm in America.
Yeah.
Like they had the cheat code. They knew what to expect. I didn't. And so I thought, like, I started panicking a little bit, but.
And that just goes back to what I said, like just looking at you, because you just would never know. And you've always been strategic. You always took, like, your risks were always calculated. You have always been that way. So on the outside looking in, you would never, because you were just always so confident in everything that you did. Like, you know, while you were talking to me about that stuff, and still to this day when you talk to me about that stuff, I'd be like, I don't know what this girl talking about. I don't know, but I'm listening because, you know, like.
But the thing is, you said something that's key. Calculated risk. You cannot be successful unless you take risks. Mm-hmm. People like to be safe, and don't get me wrong, I am safe. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of things that I do. Like, I can probably make my money grow 100 times over, but those are not the risks I want to take.
Right.
But when it comes to your career, you have to take calculated risks to get ahead. Mm-hmm. So I did that, and I feel like my career is a journey of calculated risk, right? So, you know, graduated law school, no job. I had family who needed my help, and I opened up my doors and, you know, said right now, while I need to find a job, it's more important that I help my family and be there for them. And so I feel like I do that a lot. Like, it's a balance of, well, do you focus on your career or do you focus on family? And a lot of people say you have to choose one or the other, but I think there's a middle line where you can have both. Mm-hmm.
So we, at the beginning of the show, talked about you having 2 children. So at that time, or after you graduated from law school, you ended up adopting my niece, Jordan. How was that for you? Like, how was that decision? Like, how was that for you, and how is it going now?
It was challenging, especially with, like, family dynamic. Mm-hmm. But you always choose to do the right thing, and I know, like, family was so big with my mom that it was important that you keep your family together no matter what. And
that was basically like a repeat of what happened to me and my sister, and how she ended up with my sister and I.
Yeah. And so it's going great now. She's 12. She doing her own thing, want to wear makeup. I don't know. She's talking about getting a job. It's so much, but it was different, right? Because you become an instant mom. You become an instant parent, something that you didn't plan for. Mm-hmm. And not only that, like, it wasn't only a 3-year-old. Mm-hmm. I also had a high school senior, and it was navigating that. And there was plenty of times me and you know, I went to the high school ready to fight because I wasn't prepared to be a mom, right? I'm a young adult. And so things will happen, and I will go in there like, not my child. Who won it? Where's the principal?
Yeah.
So it's, you know, you navigate all of those things, and you don't have a roadmap. You don't have trial and error. It's like, it is what it is. We're here today. And not only that, during that time, my career wasn't what it is today. So I made a lot of sacrifices. I remember wearing the same UGG. Like, one of the things I learned from my mom is just, like, giving unconditionally, right? And thinking about where I am in life and where are other people. So when you have a high school senior, fashion is important. Yeah. Shoes are important.
Right.
I remember literally learning how to box braid.
Right.
So no one will make fun of her. Because I couldn't afford to get her hair done.
Yeah.
But I was like, ain't no way someone's gonna make fun of her. She's gonna look the best. I remember, like, wearing my Uggs until they had holes in them so she can have the newest Jordan.
Yeah.
The latest, like, you know, hottest fashion. Because I'm an adult.
Right.
I can sacrifice that for me, but for her,
right.
everything. This is her world. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy because I will talk to her today and she'll say, Cousin Kimah, I had no idea.
She had no idea.
She had no idea. And I will tell her because it wasn't your business or your place to have an idea, the struggles that I was going through.
And that's crazy because I'm glad you said that, because nowadays kids know when their parents get their food stamps, they know when they get their income tax, like, you know, it's none of their business.
And no shade to them, but my struggle is my struggle.
Right.
My kids' job is to be children, mm-hmm. right? To live problem and worry free. They don't need to worry about what I don't have and what we need to survive.
Exactly.
That's what I'm here for.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So, after law school, and what we're doing now is we just put on a unit. So what we're going to do is she's opting for a no baby hairs look. So what we're going to do is we're going to melt this lace down, and we're going to use our brand new lace melt band, the elastic band. And I use the foam wrap, and I'll put that on there just so it can be like slicked down, and all my clients know this baby gonna be flat. You ain't gonna be able to tell there's no wig on here. So if we were doing baby hairs, then I would have put the baby hairs down, but she's opting for a no baby hair look. So we're gonna do that. And then I have my brand new melt spray that I use. Shout out to brand new.
Brand new. Looking good.
So people spray it on there, but it's just a little too messy, and sometimes the lace comes up. So I just like dab it on there with my fingers. And then when you see this lace again, well, you're not gonna be able to see this lace again, but we put it on here and then put it under her hair. And it's made to go over your ears so that it can get all the parts of the lace, all the things. And then we style. This episode is sponsored in part by 7 Birds Clothing Line, where the streets is your runway. Head over to 7birdsco.com to shop the most exclusive urban wear line. New drops include the authentic varsity in red and in black, leather sleeves, and embroidered patches. There is something for the whole family. Also, follow 7 Birds Co. on IG and 7 Birds Clothing Line on Facebook. Okay, so where were you in your career when you even considered, like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do the adoption. And what made you decide to take on a child, and you were not yet a mother? You didn't know what to expect. What did that look like for you? Where were you in your career?
Yeah, so where I was in my career in 2018 is definitely was not where I was in 2015. Mm-hmm. Before this podcast, I was looking for something. I came across a W-2. For the year, that bitch read $25,000.
And this was after you graduated from law school?
$1,000. After I graduated from law school, mm-hmm. a lot of money in debt, I made $25,000 in 1 year in 2015.
Yeah.
In 2018, I was definitely making 6 figures, so it was more comfortable. And so the decision was easy because we were at a place where I was comfortable with my career. I knew I can take care of her. And so the decision was a natural decision because, you know, I had both of them with me. We grew and we learned together. And it goes back to my mom and the importance of family. You are, like, family is just such a center of my being. Now, as an adult, I navigate family relationships different from my mom. My mom will do anything.
She was all in, period. It doesn't matter.
All in. I will say I am in, but I have boundaries.
Absolutely.
And everybody will respect those boundaries.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I was at a really good place. I was, like I said, I was making 6 figures. Was I happy?
But you've always been like that with boundaries. You have always, even with like her, like, just doing whatever for her family for whatever reason. We weren't there in her childhood, like we don't know why she is just always there for family. But you have always set boundaries. You always have been that way.
And I've gotten better. Therapy and reading, learning how to respect, like learning to set boundaries and making sure people respect them. And I do that with my career. I do it with my kids. I do it with my family. I do it with my friends. I do it in relationships.
I'm when I tell you, I don't care who it is. And like my biological mom, she'll say all the time, Nunu has been the same way since she was a baby. Like she has been the same way. She will tell you what it is. She said even when I was like 2, like she said I always have been the same way. Like I've always had boundaries, like, and you're gonna respect them or we're just not gonna talk.
Yes, and I think in our culture, in Black culture, we're not taught to set boundaries. Right? We're taught that, hey, that's your elder, you do what they say.
Yeah.
Hey, that's your aunt, you do what they say.
Especially Black women too, like.
And so you feel obligated to do what they say and allow people to treat you in ways that you don't like. And so I had to learn that, right? Like my boundaries, I will set them, but they were weak. I'll let people cross them. Now, a boundary is a boundary.
Right. And you definitely won't cross them. Right.
And so, it was just something that I felt comfortable doing, and it was time. Because the other alternatives were not something that I could accept and live with a decision not to do it.
Right.
And so
because you even spoke with and that's brings me to something too. I remember you saying like you had spoke with someone and they were like, that's not in the best interest of you, but but they're not, some people are not living like what you're living in every like intimate moment or everything that so I remember one time before you told me that I need to stop going to people and seeking validation through them, and whatever I feel, sometimes I just need to act on that. Like I don't remember if remember telling me that, but that has always stuck with me, like always.
And it circles back to taking strategic risks, right? Strategic risk is not only about your career, it's not only about investing, it's about life. Life, you have to take strategic risks. So for me, from the outside looking in, it wasn't the best interest for me to take on and be a mother because I needed to chase my career. That's where I was. But that was somebody else's plan. That's not the plan. The higher beings, the spirit had for me. Not my plan. Because if I would have followed that, I don't know if I would be where I am today. Because my children drive me, and I achieve great things because of them. And I don't know if I didn't have them as a responsibility, I would have been comfortable at a company where, yes, I was paid 6 figures, but I made less than everybody else on my team. Right? I probably would have been happy with that. However, I needed to be better for my kids. And I needed to know my worth, right? And so you have to take calculated strategic risk for you in your life. Nobody else can define what that is.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely. Like that has always stuck out with me. Like I'm telling you, I used to always be like, what would Kimah do? Like what would Kimah do? Like the everything that we talk about that you tell you are definitely, I don't have many role models. I don't.
Don't make me start crying.
I'm telling you, I don't.
The goal of the show.
I don't have many role models because when I tell you I bumped my head so many times, I've lived and learned so many things like on my own just by messing up, just by but the things that you tell me, because you just are a graceful person. You're very graceful. Like you have so much class.
Don't make me cry.
You a little wretched sometimes, but I'm a little wretched. I'm a little wretched too. But everything, like I always be like, what would Kimah do? What would Kimah do? Like I swear. So that that has always stuck with me. Like I really stopped seeking validation from other people. Like I really would rarely do it because people think that I'm just this strong brick wall too. I don't know why like people don't, I don't know, but I mean, shoot, I look at you like that too, like, and I know that you go through things as well, but like I'm telling you, I don't have many role models, but you are definitely one.
Thank you. And I tell you that all the time. Like, how many times, like, a part of my success as well is being vulnerable, right? I will tell you, hey, New, I need to vent right now. Hey, New, I don't feel like myself.
Yeah.
I need a moment.
Absolutely.
I need space.
Yep.
I need you instead of you needing me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's how, you know, especially when you're strong, people forget that you need somebody. Like, I am not where I am today because I got here by myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
I am where I am today, calculated risk, but also the people in my support system, people who are around me, where I can say, I can't be strong today. Yeah. I need. And
you don't have to be. Yeah.
And that's okay. And I tell the people on my team that I lead, like, I will get on a team meeting and say, like, hey, I need a moment. I am not where I normally am. Right. My daughter's birthday was yesterday. Yeah. I planned a birthday. I stayed up to 3 o'clock in the morning, leaving for London. Right. I was in California 2 weeks ago. I'm not here. Give me the space that I need to restore and regenerate. Yeah. But it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to show that you're human, right? Because I'm a human. I'm not a robot. Yeah. I'm not a machine.
Right. So let's with relationships, because you know you have to be here, there, pulling everywhere. Like, how is that for you as a Black woman with, you know, a 6-figure salary? Who, you know, most black women have to make the sacrifice sometimes to, you know, I have this high salary. I'm a Black woman in America. I'm trying to date. I'm dating. Whatever the situation is for Black women. How do you see people handling that, and how do you handle that?
So one thing I can say: remain true to yourself. Don't dumb yourself down to be with a man.
Oh, absolutely.
Because if he's a partner and he's a man for you, he will support everything. I remember one day, we were in the kitchen, I was with my partner, and I looked at him and I said, you know what? At that time, I was making like $190 a year. I looked at him and I said, you know what? In 3 years, I'm gonna make my base salary is gonna be $250,000. And he looked at me and he said, it will, and I believe you can do it. And I said, you know what? That's the goal. By the time I think that at that time I was like, by the time I'm 40, so it might have been like 6 years away. And it was just like, he was very supportive of it. And I kid you not, and I'm kind of like digressing from the question a little bit and leaning in more to the power of manifestation. Right. 4 months later, someone called me and they said, I have an opportunity. Base salary is $235,000. Wow. I went back and I said, $235,000 sounds good, but I'm looking at $265,400.
And that goes back to your dad teaching you how to negotiate. Always. Yeah, always.
Honestly, she said $235,000. I said, oh, I made it. But I said, you know what? That sounds good. But $265,400. That's all. That's what's gonna take me to move. We end up settling on $250,000, right? So one of the things is knowing your worth and having a partner that supports your worth. Right. Always. In this day and age, dating gets tricky, especially with the more money you make. Man. People love, and I hate to hear it, but people love to say, my granddaddy. No, for real. Had 6 women, but he paid all the bills, and my grandma still made a meal out. Yeah. One, your grandma wasn't educated. And that's okay. But she was okay and content. Exactly. With providing and being a homemaker.
And my thing is with that, date who agrees with you on that. Date who agrees with you on that. And that's so simple. It's so simple. If someone agrees that, okay, y'all supposed to make the woman is supposed to make all, traditional gender roles, date someone who agrees with traditional gender roles.
But that makes
it's simple.
But that's what I want to circumvent. Today's women, black women, are the number one, culturally, they have more degrees than any other race, black women, right? Black women are moving up the corporate ladder, so they tend to have a higher salary. If you see a woman, if you want a woman who's a homemaker, who stays at home, don't go after the businesswoman, entrepreneur who owns 3 businesses, make over $100,000 a year.
And to be completely honest, don't go after the hoe in the club either, because you can turn the hoe into a housewife. However, my thing is, you're gonna get mad because you want her to be somebody she's not.
Date somebody
who
aligns with what you're looking for. And also, women, date people who align with what you are looking for.
And do not dumb yourself down. You the only person who's gonna be disappointed in the end.
Exactly. And it's okay. Now, one thing I had to learn is, I'm 35, I'm not married, right? My parents were married. I had this expectation.
You did.
I'm gonna buy a house when I'm 25. Well, I'm gonna graduate law school. I'm gonna buy a house when I'm 25. I'm going to buy a house when I'm 25. I'm going to get engaged. I'm going to get married by 30. I'm going to have my first child.
And that's just it. That's what's going to happen.
That's just what's going to happen, because that's how it's supposed to go. And it's going to be great.
Right.
There's no timeline for that.
I'm telling you, man.
You can have a baby at 21, buy your house at 44, get married at 50. It's all good. Don't settle.
No, don't settle.
Don't settle. And also,
for anything. Don't settle for anything.
Exactly. And
stay true to yourself.
Stay true to yourself and find a partner that is true and aligns with what you want.
Right, exactly.
And I know a lot of people talk about sacrifices, right? Like, oh, you gotta sacrifice. You gotta do this so you can find the person.
Yeah, but you don't have to dumb yourself down or settle. Like, you don't have to do that. That's,
when you start sacrificing yourself,
compromise some things, and that's compromise some things, but still stay true to yourself.
Right. When you have to sacrifice so much that you no longer recognize
yourself,
who you are, and you look in the mirror and you question who you are as a person, you have sacrificed too much, and that partner isn't for you. And that's for men too. Like, I'm not a man,
absolutely.
so I can't speak for men.
Absolutely.
But date who aligns for you.
Absolutely.
If you want a homemaker, don't go back out to the woman who is getting her own. Unless you can be a partner to that woman and support her, whether that means you stay home and watch the children, or you guys both get a job, whatever it may be.
And that just goes back to when you're talking about like date who you, but like that doesn't go to the person who, okay, she may go out a few times or whatever, but she's still handling business. Like, you may ask her to go out with you a few times or go on a date or something like that, and she just can't do it because she's a mom. She's a single mom. Whatever. That doesn't go to, oh yeah, she do be in the club, but she's no. And also, do not fall in love with potential.
Do not fall in love with potential. But you said something. If you meet somebody in the club, don't you dare open your raggedy mouth to say,
you always going to the club. You always going to the club, sir.
You met me in the club.
I was this when you met me.
I was literally skiing.
Yes, exactly.
You met me when I was mid-twerk.
Yes,
you came behind me when I was sweeping the floor. So what you mean you don't want me in the club?
Yes, absolutely. Right? I definitely agree. It's so, this dating pool. This dating pool.
It's algae.
It does have algae in it. It has everything in it, and it's, oh my God. And then when you're like dating with intention, oh my God.
Right now, dating is crazy.
It is.
It's hard to find your person. perfect mate. At the same time, it goes back to
well, nobody is gonna be perfect. Nobody. It's never gonna be a perfect date.
But I feel like there is somebody perfect for you.
Yeah, perfect for you and what you align with. Right.
Right.
Exactly. All right, this is the segment where trivia. All right, so I got 5 questions for you.
Okay. Time out. 5 questions related to what?
Related to law.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now remember that even if I don't get these right, I am what I am, and I'm a lawyer, and I'm licensed.
Okay, here we are. All right, so what is the process to seek debt relief and fresh financial start?
First of all, let's make it clear that I'm a corporate attorney working for a corporation.
So you should know this.
And not individuals. But if the question is,
you know this.
Fresh relief is to file for bankruptcy.
You ain't had to go through all that.
Just to make it clear. Yes, but you can file for bankruptcy. I think something that's important to know when you file for bankruptcy, however, it does appear on your credit report for 7 years, and it doesn't relieve you from your obligations of student debt. I am not acting as your advisor, just telling you what the facts are.
Okay. All right. So the document for court-ordered criminal trial.
The document for court-ordered criminal trial? Oh shit, I know that. When the jury gets together and what the fuck is that? Not an injunction.
It's in something though.
Yeah, I know.
And it's usually Superior Court that files this.
I know this. Fuck.
You know, all the people on the streets, they always be like, they gotta for such and such just gotta.
What is it? All right, I got it wrong.
It's an indictment.
I know that. I am not a criminal attorney. If you are in trouble and you need help because you did something, don't call me. Call somebody else.
Okay.
You're in trouble.
Okay.
You're in trouble.
All right. So even though I always call you anyway. Court's power to bind lower courts in same jurisdiction.
The court's
power to bind lower courts in
preemption?
It's pre-something, but not. Court's power to bind lower courts in same jurisdiction. So this is basically something where it has already happened before and they set this.
Fuck! Amber! So one of my best friends in law school is an ADA, and I wish I can phone a friend because she
no phoning a friend, and you got 5 seconds. 5,
preemption. It's
4,
a preemption?
3, 2.
Fuck!
It's a precedent. Okay, so this is your lane. A legal agreement resolving dispute before trial.
A settlement.
Yeah.
A settlement. I'm a corporate attorney. A settlement.
Okay. Pro bono work in law means.
Wait, say that again?
Pro bono work in law means.
Oh, pro bono is when an attorney or a law firm does work for someone who can't afford it and they do it for free.
Free. That's the yep.
They do it for free.
Was that 5? No, that's 4. Let's do one more just for the right to remain silent during questioning. Which amendment is that?
Oh, the amendment?
Yeah, which amendment?
My 4th Amendment rights.
No.
No? Wait. No. Your right to remain silent. Your Miranda rights.
I plead the.
It's the 5th?
Yeah.
Your Miranda rights are your 5th?
The right to remain silent during questioning. The 5th Amendment.
To remain silent.
I plead the 5th.
Oh, so the reason why I said the 4th Amendment, because your 5th Amendment, okay, so you have your Miranda rights, the right to remain silent, and then I guess I was overthinking it because when you're on trial, you do say you plead the 5th. But once again, I'm not a litigator. I'm a corporate attorney.
All right, let's do this. Let's do the legal document that summons a person to court.
A legal document that summons a person to court?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I thought it was That's a summons.
No, a legal document that tells you gotta go to court. Like, this is...
appear before me?
Yeah.
Fuck, y'all are killing me. Oh, we get these all the time. A service. The service of process.
At this point, this is where you know that you're far beyond crim law. This is what you are way beyond the small part of the justice system.
I do not like. It is the service of process, right?
It's a subpoena.
Oh, a subpoena. Okay, so let me tell you how.
Us criminals know.
Let me show you how. I'm a corporate attorney. I represent businesses and corporations and not criminals. So
these are definitely going to be clickbait.
Okay, that's one thing that you need to understand, that there is a vast difference between corporate law and criminal law.
Exactly.
But once again, if you rob a bank and you need someone to help you, don't call me. Don't inbox me. Don't have your family call me, because I don't know, and I'm okay with not knowing. Now, if you want to start a business, have employees under that business, you need contracts, you would like to expand globally, I'm your girl. But if you go into jail, call somebody else. It ain't me.
All right. So that was our trivia portion. Thank you so much for coming. I love you so much. Everyone, this is my first cousin. Our mothers are sisters. It's her mother, my uncle, my mother, and the rest of the gang.
The rest of them. It's 8
the rest of the gang. But I really appreciate you coming. I really would not like for it to have been any other way. Like, I absolutely love you. Thank you so much for coming. I'm so proud of you. And
thank you so much. I'm so proud of you. And
thank you.
Having the opportunity to come and share my story with you.
Thank you.
And being so open and vulnerable, and letting people know that you don't always have to have it together. You don't have it together.
Yep.
And don't let that stop you. I wouldn't want to share that with anybody.
Thank you so I'm glad that I pulled it out of you. Yes. I'm so glad.
I'm so proud of you, and keep doing this. It's
you.
An amazing platform to show that black girl magic, that black boy joy, to show people that we are more than just our skin. Like, we are here. And so thank you for
I love you.
Here. I love you.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much for joining my podcast for Therapy Fulfillment. Please be on the lookout for other episodes, and we are out of here.
Bye.
It's a wrap for you, babe.